in Israel it's the most Torah. The night after the most Torah, they make a coffee on the marketplace, and it's a gewalt. And one year I was invited somewhere, and the mayor of the city comes to greet me, and he says, I want you to know I'm a secular Jew, and I really didn't come because it's a most Torah, but I came because I like your city. Okay, there must have been 10,000 Yidden maybe on the marketplace, and they have, let's say, 20 Sefer Torahs, give it out to other big people of the city, and you sing for 2-3 hours, and then that's it. After the whole concert was over, the mayor of the city comes to me and he says, I'm going back on what it says. He says, I'm not a secular Jew anymore. He says to me, I want you to know something. I thought to myself, imagine Abitov is the book of Shakespeare, right? Would thousands of kids jump on me to kiss the book? Would all Yidden come up to me with tears in their eyes and kiss Shakespeare? Obviously it's from heaven, not of this world. You know what it is? The Ishbitzer says, why did Yaakov tell Yosef, swear to me? You know what it means to swear? To swear means I connected to something beyond me. Beyond me, everything. You know, friends, if I want to do something, then it's not within my reach to do it. So what do? You swear, swear. Like Mamish holding on, Mamish vow to the highest. I'm holding on to the highest. You know what Yaakov Avinu did? Yaakov Avinu says to Yosef, I want you to swear to me. And you know something? Why is Yosef, why is Yosef the one who brings Yidden back to Eretz Yisrael? Why is Yosef the one who brings us back to Yiddishkeit? Because suddenly Yosef, you know what he did after he learned from Yehuda how to be connected? Oh, it is a Noicha Chalkedah. I said a Gewalt Torah, I think I've told it you already. Leah is the mother of Mashiach. What's Rachel all about? You know what Rachel is all about? Rachel is the master of connection. Can you imagine how much she's connected to her sister? You know, if someone is put to shame, then I don't care. You know why I don't care? Because I'm not connected to the person. If I'm connected, so awesome. If I'm so awesome connected, then I cannot bear that this person is put to shame. Can you imagine how much Rachel is connected to Leah? You know what Rachel gave up? Not only was she engaged to Yaakov, you remember the Medrash says, Rachel knew one thing. If Yaakov doesn't marry me, Esau will come and get me. So she mamash gave up everything to her sister. I want you to know something. You know, Yosef and Tzaddik, the children of Rachel, they are the masters of connection. But here comes the deepest depth. So why didn't Yosef and Tzaddik feel it before? You need Yehuda to wake up this connection. You know, every year is connected. You see, Yehuda doesn't create some new connection. How much we get of Yehuda? Do you know how much he is connected to your brother? You know how much your brothers are connected to you. See, Yosef is connection, and Yehuda is there. Shema Hashem Kol Yehuda. You know, how do you know how deep a person is? The way they cry. You ever seen, imagine you stand on the street, I once saw on the street, and the beauty parlor was closed, and the woman stayed there crying. She was late for the beauty parlor. You know, if she would talk, I wouldn't know how shallow she is. But she was crying over the beauty parlor, I saw how shallow she is. Then you see somebody's crying. Then you come with the Holy One, you hear somebody crying. So you see, Bereshit is like this. Bereshit is God creates the world. But who connects the world to each other? Who keeps the world together? And Yidden, if they are connected to each other, no, but as one. You remember, the Moshe created the world. What do we have to do in this world? We have to bring down God's oneness. There it comes to down, brother. Special chair for a man like you. Sit down. Connected to a person. Not doing the day at night. Remember this, I don't know where there's a medrash or somewhere. When people walk during the day, they're not holding hands. Measure it's mamish dark, right? Absolute dark. And I meet another human being finally. Well, how am I walking? So holding hands, or to lose each other again. You know what's the purpose of GEULA? When there is a mikdash is there and there's so much light shining in the world, there's no need for one Jew to hold on to the other. In GEULA, it's so dark. You know, I tell you, I heard from a Yid, he ran away from Siberia. You know what it means? I have no concept. But you know how cold it is, right? To run away, they don't even bother looking at you because they know you're dead. How far can you get? He managed one way or the other. He managed to come to a little village. And there he walks around, his mom was half dead. He saw a mezuzah on the door. You know how happy he was? Imagine when everything in Yerushalayim, I walk around and see mezuzah on the door. It doesn't blow my mind. Running away from Siberia. Police on my terrace show. See a mezuzah. You know what it is? When it's day and it's seen a lead benching Chanukah, so much. It's dark. Middle of the night. Seeing this, Mamash Messiah, them all over. I see a heat benching Chanukah. I can't believe it. Blowing my mind. I'm blowing my mind. See, the most important thing is, God forbid, sometimes we are so dead, we are really lying in a coffin, right? Are we giving up? No. The last word in Bereshit is Yitzim Bo'om B'Mitzrayim. Yosef Tzaddik can lie in a coffin. He refuses to be dead. Oid Yosef B'Nichayim. What's Rochel all about? Rochel goes to the most dead need in the world. Rochel Mavaka B'Nech. It says, YEHUDA, get up. You're not dead. You think you're dead. You know, yesterday when I saw B'Tevet the day before, why were we crying so much while we were fasting? Because they took the most living thing in the world and made it into a dead book. Not that we don't want to share the Torah with the world. If the world comes to us, we are ready to tell them what it's all about. And you know, I said to the Chavah yesterday, not only the world, 85% of all the Yidden, when they read the Bible, they really think that's what it says. They mamish think the Torah says, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. They really think, praise for the Kim, at the beginning God created heaven and earth. Let me ask you, if the Torah wouldn't say the word beginning, you would think at the end He created heaven and earth? What's the word beginning all about? We started getting involved in Parashat Bereshit. There's a whole book, Tikkun Zohar. The deepest thinkers of the world are the word breath and the word Bereshit. I mean, Shalom told me before, from Leibler Ege, before we go into exile, we've got to be connected. We have to be connected to each other. Everybody knows, you know, Chodesh Tevet. Remember, Asaph and Yaakov divided the whole year. So Chodesh, you want to give me something? I'll stay my line on it. He wants to give it to me. Chaim. You know, Yaakov and Asaph divided the year. Okay, Chodesh Tishri, the first month, Asaph can touch. Shoni, Yom Kippur, Nanuim, can't. Cheshvan, the second month, he can't touch, because when Mashiach is coming, then initiate the third temple in Cheshvan. Kislev, he can't touch, it's Hanukkah. Oh, here comes Teves. Says enough. Asaph takes Teves. Takes Shvat. Said enough. Ador he can't touch, it's 4. Nisan he can't touch, it's Pesach. Iyar he can't touch because he can't be Omer all month. Shavuos, I'm in 7, forget it. Tammuz he takes, and Av he takes. Elul he can't take because of the Shofar. What's Asaph all about? Asaph is Sha'usul Chu'amolech. He wants to separate you from the rest of the world. He wants to separate one Yid from the other. You know what kind of world we're living in? What's the deepest fixing today? What we have to do. The deepest fixing is mamash being close to each other. You know what's going on in the world? I'm sure Shalom told you it. There's a Torah of Mehed Gerishmet. Somebody came from Irkutsk, from Siberia, and you know, in those days, the region is next to Kiev. From Irkutsk, you know, the end of the world, without a train, without. It took him a year to get to Kiev, to the region. He said, Rebbe, I just hope I'll see you again, Gewalt. It takes me now a year to get back. I'll meet so many people on the way, what should I tell them? And it was Parshas Vayechi. So Yaakov, so the vision is the tape, it says right in the Parsha. He's the Loshen, Ya'asru v'gidu lechem. Yaakov Avinu said to his children, get together. It is what God needs most of us, is to get together. Mamish to get together. I want you to know, I know you share my feeling. Not only get together, you have to get together with the whole world. And we can't wait anymore. You okay, brother? Thank you so much. I was saying something awesome. You know, I was in Tel Aviv, Hanukkah, stayed in a hotel in the Ramada, and suddenly, one morning, I see that on the other table, the two Arab couples sitting there. Two young men, I say, what? I walk up to them and I say, Gewalt cousins, I'm so glad to see you. You know, their eyes lit up. How much lit up? You know, if I wait for them to love me, they'll never love me. No, I have to be first. I have to be the first. You know what was so cute? They asked me, could we ask you something? It's true to us. They said to me, are all the rabbis like you? Oh, they? I said, can only tell you, I hope. Not that I'm so good. But, so you see, friends, before we go into exile, mamish, we have to be together. Mamish, we have to be together. You know what Shabbos is all about? The unbelievable Medrash. When God created the world, every part of the creation was lonely. One cloud didn't talk to the other cloud. One tree didn't talk to the other tree. One flower didn't talk to the other flower. Then became Shabbos. The Medrash says, "Yehuda kaflot is Carlebach." Yehuda Shlomo, they came together. For the world. Well, you know something awesome. What was really the tree of knowledge all about? Chava was created because Adam Rishon was lonely. Lord Taifa for Yosef Adam Levada, right? What does the snake do? The snake separated them again. Because Chava did a bit wrong. Chava says to Adam, why didn't you tell me stronger? And he says, why did you do it? Right? Separated them. And why is Shabbos? One is because Shabbos is the fixing of Adam and Chava. Do you remember? Shishcha says, Mamash me sing Eshes Chayav. Mamash says fixing of the tree of knowledge. I mean, can you imagine? The Beth Yaakov says, what's the first sign that you love somebody? When you love somebody, whenever they do wrong, you say, it's my fault, I'll take care of it. God says to him, well, what happened? He just covered it, right? This is how much you love your wife? But you know what it was? It was really the snake. Because when you do something wrong, God forbid, oh, this is the most terrible shame. When you do something wrong, you stop loving. You always stop loving. And listen to people story in a while. You know, if Yosef HaTzadik would have done something with the wife of Potiphar, he wouldn't have loved his brothers anymore. You see, the greatest thing Yosef HaTzadik did, that he wasn't angry with his brothers. But if he would have done something with the wife of Potiphar, God bless, he wouldn't love his brothers anymore. What? So it's wrong. There it is. You know, when I see When I see parents yelling at children, that means on that day the parents did something wrong. I hate to say it. So what? Who said what?
But on the other hand, the children have to learn.
What do you have to yell? The Gemara says, you know, the Heilige Woke, when he had to tell his children something strong, he would say, Mendel, I have to say something very strong, make yourself strong first, give them 5 minutes, make yourself strong, and then you tell them. But when you fall upon your children, you know, I have seen parents, I mean, sometimes you see parents who are sweet, sometimes you see parents who are loud. You know, sometimes at the airport, you're waiting for the plane, and you see parents already talk to their children. Every week, I have about 400 kids that want to adopt. I mean, it's heartbreaking. I remember one time I was mom sick for a week. The way this woman was talking to her children, what's going to be with those children when they grow up? But I hate every human being in the world. So you hear, friends, this is one of my old horrors. On Yom Kippur, God forgives us. But what happened to my heart? Because I did so much wrong, I don't even know how to love anymore. On Chanukah is Yishu Beza. On Chanukah, God gives me back. On Chanukah, God fixes my heart again. And Gewalt, Yishu Beza, love my wife, my husband, my children. And you know why I don't let my children kindle their own lives? It's a chutzpah, who are you to kindle your own life? Whatever you know from me, right? You see, parents. I want you to know something. I can give my children information. The light. Oh, Gewalt is the deep to give all the light to children. Gewalt is the deep. I don't know if Sholem told you there's a Gewalt story from the Heilige Krishna. The Heilige Krishna says, I want you to know, let's say it was 50 years ago. How old was the Krishna when he left the world? He left the world very young, never. Remember the Holy Son said he's fighting against the Homachloik, against the Krishna Kinder, the Shtabarich of humans, you know. The Krishna was, anyway. Let's say he says, I'm now 50 years old. He says, when I was 4 years old, my father took me for a walk. You know, there's a mountain there around Prishn, Kiev. He says we went on the mountain. And the mountains are very tall. There's one mountain, another mountain. I said to my father, is this the end of the world? No, he saw a mountain. What's behind it? It's the end of the world. So he says, my father told me, it's Volker Matayakin. It's not the end of the world. There are more mountains even higher than this one. And then there are more mountains even higher than this one. And there are valleys. Oh, so deep. Deeper than the valleys you see. Then there are oceans. But all this, he says, was created by one God. So the Krishna says already so many years that I remember the way my father told to me that all this was created by God. Still shiver. You know, the light of it. So here I began telling you, Rabbi Yochanan says in the name of Rabbi Abba says in Rabbi Shimon Yechor, Rabbi Shimon Yechor says in the name of the Resh Masif Tedekia. You know what they're telling? I still shiver. See what it is? Information, after I know it, I don't need the person anymore talking to me. Light, I receive light all the time. You know where the Rebbes, They would say, Mamish, like the Alter Rebbe would say from the Shemagit, from the Heilige Baal Shem, who heard from Achia Shiloni. Something Tzedek Cohen says, I heard from a Rebbe the Heilige Ishbitze, who heard from the Heilige Pshische, who heard from the Yitzhak Kodesh, who heard from the Chaytim of the Blin, who heard from the Yom Novi. You see the shivers just. Let's sort of knock one for 2 minutes. Let's put some water here.
What's happening?
When are you coming for Shabbos soon? Let's learn 2 more minutes. First you learn one word, and the other word, another word, and you'll understand. And you learn a book. And this kind of learning takes time. This is learning of this world. You know, I want to learn a French book. First, have to learn to read, and till I get there takes a long time. Then there's some kind of knowledge which doesn't need anything before. And it's not even on the level of learning. Suddenly, mamish, like it's a revelation. Suddenly, something is revealed to me, deeper than anything. So Nachman says, to have the privilege of receiving this kind of knowledge, obviously this knowledge comes from a higher world. This comes from a higher world. And for that, you know, ordinary knowledge, what you comes to open your heart. Ordinary knowledge I receive as my head. This deeper kind of knowledge is my head, my heart, my face. That means I have to Torah of alles. I'm trying just in a nutshell that a little bit. You know, let me ask something. Sometimes you see people, they know so much, and it's not showing on their face. I don't want to say anything bad, but I tell you, at the beginning of the House of Prayer, when I was trying to get through to a lot of kids, one of those kids comes to me and shows me a picture of his Rabbi, his guru. I don't want to say anything bad, but I pull out the picture, the old Rabbi Shlomo. I said, look here, this is my guru, this is your guru. Let me ask you something. If you have choice between those two gurus, be honest. You know, his guru is an ungefressener, you know, I don't think. There's not one ounce of holiness on him. I don't think all the gurus look like this. Someone like Swami Satchidananda really looks holy. You know, he looks holy, he really is. But this particular one really was bad looking. So you friends, when you see somebody with a dark face, then he knows a lot when it comes to knowledge which you learn slowly. Everybody can. You have a good head, you're a genius, you learn it. But then it's this kind of knowledge you receive from above, that you don't receive only with your head, you receive it also with your face. Knowledge with your face. But in order to receive the knowledge with your face, you have to have good eyes. Good eyes means you have to look at other people with good eyes. You know what good eyes means? When I see that you are beautiful, I don't think, why are they beautiful? I don't even think they're so beautiful. You know the way some people look at somebody, cutting them short. You know, sometimes people have good eyes. The Rosh Hashem's good eyes is that, and Mamash, I'm so glad you're beautiful. I'm so glad God is good to you. You know, sometimes you look at somebody, you're not only making them less beautiful, you must make them more beautiful. Give them everything there is. How do I receive this? My lips, this heavy, mamash have to guard my words and saying bad things about other people. Oh, my nose, this is already heavy. What does he say about the nose? Okay, he says like this. He has the lips. Don't say it, don't lie. Eyes don't see the bad in others, only the good. And what is the nose? You know, nose is really like to smell. You know, some people tell you beautiful things, but you could smell it's really bad. Sometimes you meet people that tell you it's bad, but you could smell behind all of it. You know, the difference between food and smell is very simple. Food you take inside. Smell is outside. It's not even far away. You know what Mashiach is? He hasn't come yet, but we can smell Mashiach. You can see him. And the ears, this is very heavy. From now on, this ears is when someone tells you a secret and you don't tell anybody. You know, when I hear something which was meant just for me, and I say it, that means I'm destroying Chashash my ears, the deepest depth. Okay, you know what kind of knowledge this is? This knowledge is really beyond me. It is beyond me, but still inside of me. You know, sometimes we know something which is so deep, so exalted. It's deeper than my head, deeper than my heart, even deeper than my neshama. You know, let's put it this way. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu come down with a book to prove the existence of God? Why doesn't Moshe Rabbeinu come down to prove the existence of the Torah from heaven? The way I know that the Torah is from heaven is not of the same level like 1 and 1 is 2. It's mamash. Every Yid has his mamash shining into me from beyond everything. I want to share something awesome deep with you. Let me ask you, how do children know this, my father, my mother? I think the first thing when they're born, we start reading for them, we start reading a book on sex, and we tell them this, your father can meet your maker, meet your producer. Imagine children would not know who their parents are, and then when they're 20 years old, they're going to school, to college, they study a little bit, and then they tell them, these are your producers, meet your father and your mother. What would the relation be? Nothing. Not even an onion. And you know something very deep? Children, when they grow up, and they do know how children are produced, sad enough, it takes away a little bit of the connections they have. Because at the beginning, it's just like from heaven. Sheferaki. Deepest knowledge, most heavenly knowledge. So this heavenly knowledge is full of light. And you see children have it more than others. Because sadly enough we know so much with our head. And even when we know something of the deepest depths knowledge, it destroys it. And you know what the deepest thing is? The way it's getting deeper, deeper, deeper. Like for instance, this Secher, the key, Shefer, the key, shining into me, and it's beyond me. Then I learn more, then it becomes inside of me, and then more is shining outside. Because it's also deeper, deeper, deeper. You know, friends, when I know 1 and 1 is 2, and then I know 4 and 4 is 8, it's not really more knowledge. It's just I apply it to something. Chanukah, be adding another candle. Mamish becoming more light. Comes from the deepest thing in the world. I once met an old YEHUDA. He told me when he was 7 years old, he saw the soccer show. He said, "Do you know how he looked like? He was mamish a walking Mount Sinai. He knew every word of the Torah. So Chanukah, we receive the Torah on a completely different level. You know what we made so many mistakes? Because we lost the heavenliness of the Torah. We lost the heavenliness of everything. You know, husband and wife and children, why aren't they together? God forbid. They lost the heavenliness. The Shefer, the key, the beyondness of everything. Deeper, deeper than everything. So on Chanukah, God gives it back to me. Okay, you know, sometimes there's one more Torah, Nachman says, sometimes with this beyond Torah, I know it's there and I can't bring it forth. It's not shining on me. Then give out of my crying. Give out of my crying. You know, I want you to know, between people, it's so deep. Sometimes connections. I mean, you're a friend of mine. I know where you live, you know where I live. I know each other. Sometimes beyond. You know what happened when the brothers sold Yosef? They were still brothers, right? But this beyond was destroyed. So Yosef was tzaddik. Couldn't reveal himself to his brothers. The Yigish head of YEHUDA. YEHUDA's mamash is the master. Mamash, she told him, give out of these brothers. Give out beyond everything. And we have to bless you and me that everything we know should be on the level of Shefer, the key, deeper than everything. Full of light, full of beyond. You know, I don't want to know Yerushalayim, it's Yerushalayim because I saw it in the book on geography. I wanted to come out from another place. And I don't want to know this is my daughter because I was there when she was born. I watched it. I know it's a process. But you know, on a completely different level. You know, all this talk, who is a Jew? This is all dark talk. Dark. You know who's the Yid? It's beyond, so much deeper than everything. And I just want you to know something. If you ever want to turn on the world to God, it's not the book about God, it's a book about Israel. Mama, if this light is shining from me, then I stand on every door of every Jewish house. I'm holding one candle. And this one candle can turn on the whole lot of Yiddishkeit. Anyway, thank you, friends. You have to forgive me tonight. I was so tired. I don't know if it even made sense what I said, but who cares, right? Let's sing one more good thing and then they'll go to sleep again. I have nothing against the Greeks. I mean, the world needs them, you know. Science is a very big thing. But the only thing is, they need us more than we need them. Because if the whole world is filled with darkness, it's the end of it.
For coming.
Thank you so much. But you know, next week I'm going back to Carlebach. So blessed to have a good flight. Any time, sugar. Just bring a lot of cash with you. I'm not asking you for much, just a little bit. Like you say in Israel, don't give me a check, right? Someone told me the most magnetic thing in the world is a check. It always comes back. I was in the bank, someone talking about charisma. He said to me, this Yidon has about charisma. He gives a check to Africa and it comes back, you know, drawn to him. For you anytime. Which one? Ah, good. The best. Some time ago, a person was invited at the big university in Toronto to give a lecture on the Talmud. And, imagine you give a talk about Coca-Cola. The acid test is how many people walk out to buy Coca-Cola, right? So I stood by the door and I asked people, are you going out now and buying a Talmud? They looked at me like, why? It was a lecture, right? What was missing? No connection. It's dark. It's always dark. You know, I bless you, Rabbi Shlomo, when you teach somebody, you should learn how to get chilul, get a chumash, get a siddur, get a tillim. And all of us, whatever we do, not only to teach people, to tell them, to connect them to it. Connection is from heaven. You cannot force a connection. You know, I can take this woman and this man and introduce them. Connection. I cannot go to a woman and say, listen, I want you to love this man. Not connected, right? Hang yourself. Nothing you can do, right? See, Yosef and Tzaddik is doing it. Yehuda is not being connected to it. But Yehuda should have not follow. You cannot tell a person to do it. First you have to connect them to it. Deepest connection there is. I gotta sing it again. This is for my children, Mamash. You know, this month's Tavis, the big thing is anger. And let me just tell you that for all of us, you know, you have to work a lifetime on anger, a lifetime. And the YEHUDA says the deepest thought in the world. When you are angry already, it's too late. Can you imagine, I'm angry? And then the Torah says, don't repress it, it's also bad. That's when you get sick. You know, there's a law in the Torah, when I hate you and I'm angry, I have to tell you. Because most of the time, at least when I tell you, I find out I made a mistake. You know, I'm angry with you and I'm keeping it inside. I hate you. And first of all, I become a liar. I pretend I love you and I don't. And it's physically, it's gesellig, right? So when do I work on anger? Before. Means I'm at such a high level. It doesn't bother me. I'm masbid, I think I told you. This, I'm standing in the bank. All I have on me is $1.75. And I'm depositing it. I'm hungry like a dog. I was broken, have no job now. Someone comes up to me and starts really insulting me. And I'm aching anyway. How do I respond? Yeah, but who are you to insult me? Who do you think you are? Could you imagine I have $5 million in my hands, I'm depositing it in the bank. And he's going to come and insult me, say, Mother, who cares? You don't like me? I don't mind if you don't like me. Who cares, man? See, if your heart is full of light, you're not angry. So before Tavis is Chanukah. My heart is full of light. Who cares? Who cares? You see, Tavis is Asaph. What was the deal with Yaakov and Asaph? Yaakov had no anger in his heart. Asaph always angry. Always angry. I don't want to say anything bad, but I run around the world a little bit. The most angry people in the world are the Austrians and the Germans. Always angry. Always say bad things. Okay, think of that. The new generation getting a bit better. But basically, always angry. Always bad things to say. Asaph. Always bad. And then comes Yid Mamash. Anyway, bless you and me, we should know not to control anger. It's a bad word. Take a mamish not to be angry. Not to be angry and to be simcha. And with Shabbos, Yom Tov, Chodesh, everything. Thank you so much. Thank you, Judy.
Thank you.